Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Bexar County Court of Law number 6 on the Bexar County Veterans Treatment Court. Motion to revoke probation hearing continuing from this morning at approximately 10:30. It is now approximately 11:45 on Wednesday, the 29th of September, 2021. Okay, at this time, we're taking up cause 629-107, State of Texas versus Paul Moore. Are you ready to proceed, Mr. Perez?
Yes, we are, Your Honor.
Mr. Moore, Mr. Perez, I'm looking at a document entitled Defendant's Consent to Motion to Revoke Hearing by Video Conference that purports to have your signatures on it. In fact, Mr. Moore, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Mr. Perez, the attorney for Mr. Moore, is this your signature on this document?
It is, Your Honor.
Thank you. The next document I have is entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, which is marked, quote, is an adjudication of guilt following a deferred adjudication. And the defendant has a limited right of appeal. Is this your signature on this document also, Mr. Moore?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Perez, the attorney for Mr. Moore, is this also your signature on this document?
It is, Your Honor.
Okay, this is a motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke community supervision. Mr. Perez, my understanding is this is going to be an uncontested motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke community supervision. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Moore, in clause 629-107 on the motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke community supervision, how do you plead, sir?
Guilty.
And Mr. Perez, would that be true or not true?
Yeah, true, Paul.
All right, court accepts the plea of true with an explanation. Is that okay with you, Mr. Moore?
Yes, sir.
All right. Ms. Gross, would you please advise the court and the parties of the status of Mr. Moore's probation?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Moore has performed very poorly on probation in that after he was placed on probation, he failed to attend orientation and sign his conditions of probation. Therefore, no payments have been made on his balance of $1,445, which he's delinquent $635. He's not completed any of his 24 hours of community service or provided proof of enrollment or completion of a stress class. There have been no drug tests done. This is his first violation report, first motion to revoke. His criminal arrest includes assault, bodily injury, possession of marijuana 0 to 2 ounces, driving while license invalid, 2 possessions of a controlled substance, penalty group 1, less than 1 gram, along with this instant offense. The officers recommended that his probation be revoked.
Looking at the history on Mr. Moore, Mr. Perez, is Mr. Moore still serving a sentence on a felony drug charge?
No, sir. Mr. Moore, could you help me on that one? We don't believe so.
No, Your Honor. I was not on that felony. That felony was served about 4 years ago, sir.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Okay. And Mr. Perez, what are you requesting?
So, Judge, Mr. Moore suffers from slight mental illness. He has bipolar, PTSD, anxiety. He has been working with his brother full-time. Unfortunately, he lost his father a few months ago. We think that may have contributed to a little bit of going off the rail on this thing. He was placed on probation for the year, as the Honorable Ms. Gross mentioned. The underlying damage to the via sign was very minimal. We would just hope that if you could consider just a very short-term period for him to ride this out as opposed to getting back on probation. He doesn't ride the bus. He rides his bike. He's been a trustee every day in the Bexar County Jail that he's been there. He understands his mistake. We're not fighting the revocation. We just think maybe we should have just worked out an agreement on a time as opposed to probation, because he's working, taking care of a family, all that. It's just been very difficult with him, and then losing the father just kind of threw him off, Judge. If you could consider a short-term Bexar County Jail stint, understanding he's, I think, served at least 36 days at this point, and he's been a trustee as much as he can.
Mr. Perez, are you familiar with the original alleged criminal mischief that this case is based on?
Yeah, well, I understand it's a via sign, that there was some damage to a via sign.
To a via sign?
To a via
Like
bus
a bus
stop.
I got you.
Like at a bus stop, and he hit he hit the sign a little bit, and he was there were a couple of witnesses that noticed that, and he was arrested for criminal mischief for hitting that sign.
That sound right, Mr. Moore?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. Was there restitution in this case, Susan?
Let me double check, Your Honor.
I'm sure if there is that, if you could, his boss brother would be able to maybe potentially pay that as consideration of some sort.
And criminal mischief 750 to 2,500. I assume everyone agrees that's a Class A offense, is it not?
Unfortunately. It should be more appropriately as a B, but we're not the state legislature.
All right. So is
Judge, you ordered $750 to go to VIA.
If you could consider that, we as part of some sort of punishment, I think that we may still be able to make that restitution.
all right. Is Mr. Moore on any other probations currently other than the one we're dealing with this morning?
No, sir. Mr. Moore?
No, I'm not on any other probation. That was the only probation I'm on currently. Thank
I
you.
got you. State recommendation?
The state would follow the recommendation of Ms. Gross.
Just to reassert, Judge, I think there's a possibility that within a very short period of time, maybe days, that the restitution could indeed be paid.
Mr. Moore, on call 629-107, the court accepts your plea of true with an explanation. I grant the state's motion to revoke your deferred adjudication probation. I adjudicate you guilty of the offense of criminal mischief, $750 to $2,500. I sentence you instead of a year in jail to 6 months in the Bexar County Jail, assessing a $2,000 fine plus court cost, credit for time served, time and money to run concurrent. You've already got credit for at least 36 days. That ought to be plus or minus 90 days worth of equivalent at 3-for-1. Recalling all pretrial services bond conditions. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Moore?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Nothing
Thank you,
further.
Mr. Moore. Thank you, Mr. Perez.
Thank you, Judge. May we be excused?
You bet. Ready on Michelle Garcia, please. Arnulfo, are you with us?
Yes, Your Honor, I am.
All righty. You ready to go?
Ready, Your Honor.
Cause number 657-158, State of Texas versus Michelle Garcia, represented by Mr. Arnulfo Ortiz. And this is a motion to revoke community supervision. First document I have for Ms. Garcia and Mr. Ortiz to identify their signatures on is entitled Defendant's Consent to Motion to Revoke Hearing by Video Conference. Ms. Garcia, is this your signature on this document, ma'am? Ms. Garcia, your microphone is still, there you go. Is this your signature on this document, Ms. Garcia?
Speak up, Michelle.
You want to text her or call her on her cell phone and see if we can figure out what's going on?
The staff is on the phone about
Okey doke.
a minute ago. We had to have this young lady come in the office to sign the Zoom waiver because she couldn't do it at home. And now she's been on a good part of the morning.
Arnulfo, why don't we'll take a break from this case and let you guys try to figure out what's going on and see if you can fix it. Worst case scenario, she may have a cell phone that will work instead of whatever she's doing. And maybe she is doing the cell phone. I don't know. But we'll come back to you when you're ready, okay?
There she is, Your Honor.
Wait, speak of the devil and she shall appear. Michelle, can you hear us? Your microphone is turned off, Ms. Garcia. There you go. Oops, almost.
Press the space bar when you speak, Michelle.
Her microphone is
can't hear.
off, but we still can't hear her.
She may have to sign in again. Get off and sign back in. You cannot hear her.
Ms. Garcia, we cannot hear you, and it's probably some sort of technical glitch. Can you hear us? Ms. Garcia, can you hear us? Can you go ahead and sign off and sign back in, and we'll start over? Just go ahead and punch leave and then come back and sign back in with the same credentials that you did the first time. Let's see how that works.
Okay.
Arnulfo, what years were you a DA?
Never,
Never. Okay.
never, no. I hung up my shingle the moment I arrived, 36 years ago, Your Honor,
Ah,
which is why I'm just winging it. Not in the DAs, not in the military.
She's signing back in.
Can y'all hear me now?
Michelle.
we've got you
Yes.
now. Yay, miracle. Let's start over, guys. This is cause number 657-158, State of Texas versus Michelle Garcia. This is a motion to revoke community supervision. Ms. Garcia, Representative Mr. Arnulfo Ortiz. Ms. Garcia and Mr. Ortiz, I'm first looking at a document entitled Defendant's Consent to Motion to Revoke Hearing by Video Conference that purports to have your signatures on it. In fact, Ms. Garcia, is this your signature on this document, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Mr. Ortiz, as attorney for Ms. Garcia, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. The next document I have is entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, which is marked, quote, is a revocation of the defendant's community supervision, and the defendant has a right to appeal the court's actions revoking the community supervision, but not the underlying conviction. Is this also your signature on this document, Ms. Garcia?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Ortiz, as attorney for Ms. Garcia, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
This is a motion to revoke community supervision. Mr. Ortiz, my understanding is this is uncontested. Is that accurate?
We're pleading true to anything. Yes.
All right, fair enough.
An explanation.
Ms. Garcia, in cause 657-158 on the motion to revoke community supervision. How do you plead, ma'am?
True.
Fair enough. Ms. Gross, please advise the court and the parties of the status of Ms. Garcia's probation.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Garcia has been reporting as directed. We last saw her on September 15th, 2021. She's paid $52 towards her fees, has a balance of $1,250 and is delinquent $339. We have no record of any of her 48 hours of community service having been completed. She has completed DWI education, and we have no proof of completion of victim impact panel or CAT-SNP. She has had 2 negative drug tests. She's currently on Smart Start Mobile testing 4 times per day. She's had 12 skips and 2 high BRACs. The first high BRAC is 0.098, and the second high BRAC is 0.024. This is her first violation report, first motion to revoke. She has only 1 prior arrest, and that was for an assault, bodily injury, married. Her officer is recommending that she be placed on weekly drug testing, complete the DWI education and victim impact panel within 14 days, and that she enroll in CAT-SNP within 14 days and start that upon completion of the other 2 classes.
Ms. Gross, I need a clarification on the actual motion to revoke community supervision. Under violation condition number 15, it alleges she blew a .198, not
Yes.
0.098. What is the accurate amount?
Judge, it is 0.098. It is a typo, and we would like to correct that on the official record.
All right, and I'll bet Mr. Ortiz would like that corrected too, wouldn't you, Mr. Ortiz?
I just want you to play nice, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Ortiz, what are you requesting?
I just want her continued, and I want to do what the probation is doing. I'm concerned that this young lady is in over her head, and she's gonna have difficulty completing all this. I don't know if the probation department has a program to assist her. Like I said, she didn't know how to sign in. She didn't know how to fill out the forms. And I think that's kind of been part of the problem. She's a single mother, overwhelmed with 2 little kids. She does have a high school diploma. I would also say that she's never been convicted. She's never been convicted of assault. That case was dismissed. We'd asked the court to allow her, she's only been on probation since June, to straighten this out. I don't know if there's a program for people with diminished capacity to assist her in this process, to sort it out, to explain it to her so she doesn't have these problems again. I would like you to continue her on probation and not to burden her much more than she originally was told to comply with.
Now, let me bounce this off you. My concern is she's blowing legally intoxicated on the machine. And she's skipping breath tests. So, I mean, I can't get her to blow on the machine. If I order scram, she won't be able to afford it $350 a month. Would you agree?
I agree. She has been told that nobody's gonna believe the NyQuil excuse. It's not the worst excuse I've heard. I had a waitress who said she was cleaning tables and the hand absorbed the alcohol. So this isn't that bad, but no more NyQuil and no more BS excuses, because she's got a warrant right now and she's gonna end up in rehab. She says her kids would go to foster care. If she doesn't want that, no more drinking.
Susan, what is the original fine amount on this case, if you know?
$500, Your Honor.
All right, let me throw this out. State, what is your recommendation? I just don't think we're going to be able to get Mr. Garcia through probation. We've got too many problems.
That's somewhat of the state's concern, Your Honor. If Ms. Garcia feels like she wants to give it another go, the state's good with following the recommendation of Officer Gross.
All right, Mr. Ortiz, I'm going to give you 2 options to chat with Ms. Garcia about, and y'all can go off in a chat room in a minute to talk about it if you want. Number 1 is I will continue her on probation, but she's going to have to get a scram bracelet. I can't get her to blow in the machine. It doesn't matter how many times a day I want her to blow into it. If she's not blowing into it, I can't monitor what she's doing. That's $350 a month. 2 is I will revoke her with the understanding that I'm going to give her a maximum sentence of 6 months in jail, but I'm going to give her a certain period of time to report to the jail. And if she pays the $1,250 she owes the probation department before that time, I'll waive her jail sentence. Once again, money may be an issue on that one, but that's the quick fix. That way the state gets some money and she's not on probation anymore.
$1,250 and no more probation. We'll take that deal. We got 60 days to come up with it.
How long does Ms. Garcia need to come up with the money? And I'm thinking Monday. Does that give her enough time to get the money together to get to the probation department?
Speak up.
$1,250?
What?
The $1,250?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
I can go ahead and I can try to do that.
Not try. You're gonna do it.
I can make it happen.
All right. State, is that going to be okay with you?
That's good with the state, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Garcia on cause 657-158. The court accepts your plea of truth and explanation. I grant the state's motion to revoke your probation. I sentence you to 6 months in the Bexar County Jail. It says a $500 fine plus court costs, credit for time served, time and money to run concurrent. You're to report to the Bexar County Jail at 9:00 a.m. on Monday, 10/25/21. However, if you pay in full the $1,250 you owe the probation department before that date and time, I will waive your jail sentence. If you do that, I will not know you paid the money. So you need to let your lawyer know. He needs to let me know, and I confirm through probation. And then I enter an order that just says, defendant paid in full, judgment satisfied, and that takes care of this case. That sound okay to you, Mr. Ortiz?
As soon as she sends me a copy, make a copy of while you're paying, I will submit it to the court. Yes, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
Well, Susan, as soon as she pays, Susan will have access on the computer of the fact that she's paid it, I think. Would that be correct, Sue?
Yes, but I'll need to be notified. So Mr. Ortiz, if you can just email me or whatever, then I'll verify it. I'll let the judge know. And then the judge will notify the powers that be to remove that sentence.
Yes, agreed.
All right, Judge. And Judge, you gave her a report date of October 25th?
I'm sorry. It's, yeah, October 25th.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Where are we today? No,
We're
yeah,
at
October the 4th. That's this coming Monday. Does that give her enough time to do this, Ms. Garcia?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I apologize. It would be 9:00 a.m., October the 4th, 2021. is when you're supposed to report to the jail at 9 a.m. unless you paid the money. If you paid the money, let your attorney know, he'll let me know, and an order will be entered immediately that says that the judgment is satisfied. You do not need to report to jail. Fair enough, Arnulfo?
Fair.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Anything further from the state of the defense?
Nothing further.
Ms. Garcia.
No, Judge.
Good luck, Ms. Garcia.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir.
Thank you, Arnulfo.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Gold, are we ready on Mr. Velos?
Yes, sir. We're gonna plead true with an explanation.
Fair enough. It's cause number 625062, State of Texas versus Christopher Velos. This is a motion to revoke community supervision. Mr. Velos and Mr. Gold, the first document I'm looking at is entitled Defendant's Consent to Motion to Revoke Hearing by Video Conference. In fact, Mr. Velos, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. And Mr. Gold, as attorney for Mr. Velos, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, sir.
The next document I have is entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, which is marked, quote, is a revocation of the defendant's community supervision, and the defendant has a right to appeal the court's actions revoking the community supervision, but not the underlying conviction, unquote. Is this your signature on this document also, Mr. Velos?
Yes, Judge.
And Mr. Gold, as attorney for Mr. Velos, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Gold, I believe you indicated this is an uncontested motion to revoke community supervision. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Velos, in cause 625062 on the motion to revoke community supervision, how do you plead, sir?
True.
Court accepts the plea of true with an explanation. And Ms. Gross, would you please advise the court and the parties of the status of Mr. Velos' probation, please?
Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Velos has been reporting as directed. We last saw him on August 18th, 2021. He has paid $412 towards his fees. He has a balance of $1,064 and is delinquent $314. We have no record of any of his 48 hours community service having been completed. He has completed the victim impact panel, and he still needs to complete DWI education, drug offender education program, and the CAT SNP program as well. He was given a 30-day jail sanction, which was JSATted, and that was on his last motion to revoke, which was August 5th. And he is currently on weekly drug testing. He's had 5 negative drug tests. He has had 2 diluted drug tests, and he has failed to call the UA line on 2 occasions. This is second violation report, second MTR. The officer is recommending that his Smart Start mobile be increased to 6 times per day. He continue with weekly drug testing, and that he shows substantial compliance within 10 days.
What were the problems we had on the first MTR? Do you know?
Give me 2 seconds and I will provide that for you.
Your Honor, I believe that was there was 2 positive UAs at the beginning. He just started in April.
For
And I think
marijuana,
that's-
probably?
Yeah, I think so. Yes, sir.
Okay, that makes perfect sense.
But that's right when he started, right when he pled, is my understanding.
It was marijuana, and that he had skipped 3 tests, and he hadn't registered for any of his classes. And that was a total of 2 marijuanas.
Not exactly a serial killer.
No, sir.
Mr. Gold, what are you requesting?
Your Honor, just briefly, I'm gonna hit a couple of points. I'm gonna ask that you continue them and that do the weekly UAs. I don't know if it's necessary. He's only missed 1 spot. There's been nothing with alcohol. I would say keep it at 4, but we're not opposed to 6. As to the community service, he has not done that. That's the only thing that's lacked. But he did sell a house, and he's still working at Schlotsky, so he's able to pay some of that off coming up. He did the CAT SNP, Judge, and he did the DWI education. He just needs to give it. Chris, are you there? Show him that you did the DWI.
I have it. The thing is, I had sent it to Mrs. Maynes, not knowing I'd been changed to Hernandez. So she has, and I did have to go down to Time for Now Education to get another copy of my completion form for the DWI education. but that was completed back on 6/25, and I have it right here with me.
Okay, and you finished CatSnip as well, correct?
CatSnip, yes, that was part of what I sent to Maynez.
So
not
you
knowing-
have done those, the DWI, the CAT, the only thing, and the other class is the drug offender education program. But
Yeah,
you
and I am
registered for that.
Yes, sir.
When did you register? Yesterday or the day before?
I believe that was on Thursday when I first contacted you.
Okay, so he's on the drug offender last week, so he's registered for that as well, Judge. And again, we're dealing with dilutes here. The last one was a negative. He has no positives. We talked about that, and he's kind of learning the right amount of water, what he can drink, what he can't. So I don't think we're gonna have any issues with that. I talked with Dean, and Dean says that he's a great client. So Judge, I think some of these are just kind of ripples. There's no big waves. We would ask that we just continue.
Explain to me why Mr. Velas did not call the UA line on September 2nd and September 3rd.
For me?
Yes, sir.
Either one of
Oh,
you.
I believe that was probably like a Thursday and Friday. I think I had gotten the UR required to test today on the Wednesday, and just, I guess since that was towards the beginning of it, I thought I didn't need to call the rest of the week since I had already tested that week. But since then, I've been making sure to call every single day, even after the days that I test.
Ms. Gross, what is the last UA test Mr. Velas took? Do we have results yet?
Let me see what his last one was. He tested on the 23rd. It is not back yet. But prior to that, he has 5 negatives.
It's all working for me. Anything further, Mr. Gold?
No, sir.
State, what's your recommendation?
The state would agree with the defense's request.
Okay. Mr. Velos, in clause 625062, the court accepts your plea of truth and explanation. I deny the state's motion to revoke your community supervision or to continue on community supervision with all prior requirements and no sanction at this time, although I have the authority to put you in jail for 30 days to get your attention. Will that be necessary?
No, Judge.
Good answer, sir. Okay, let's continue weekly UAs for right now. I want 4 clean ones in a row. You've done it in the past. Then you had it diluted, then you didn't call the line a couple of times, okay? So we're starting over on those. Show me 4 clean UAs. I'll put you back on monthly. Susan, what else do we need to do? I'm not gonna crank him up to 6. We're not having any real serious drinking problems that I can tell.
No indication of that, Your Honor.
Anything else we need to have a chat with right now while we have the opportunity with Mr. Velas?
He just needs to follow through in regards to the classes that you signed up for. Make sure you attend them and get your certificates over to your new officer, Mr. Hernandez.
And I'm going to order substantial compliance, which means Mr. Velas needs to catch up on his money. He owes y'all $314, it looks like. And that's the only real problem we're having, I'm aware of. Does that sound right, Mr. Gold?
Yes, sir. But I think he's going to remedy that pretty fast.
I'm going to say substantial compliance within 30 days. Got to catch up on his monies within 30 days. That'll give you plenty of time to win the lottery. Anything further from the state of the defense on Mr. Velos?
No, sir.
Good luck,
Nothing
Mr.
further.
Velos. Thank you, Mr. Gold.
Thank you, sir.
Mr.
Maybe soon.
Velos,
You
Mr.
bet.
Velos, I'm going to send you some documents this afternoon. Make sure you sign them via Adobe Sign and send them back, and then touch base with Mr. Hernandez, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you.
Are we
Thank
ready
you.
on Mr. Salazar?
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Take
Yes,
care.
Your Honor. We're ready.
Cause number 633445, State of Texas versus Patrick Salazar, represented by Mr. Jesus Gomez. Mr. Salazar and Mr. Gomez, I'm looking at a document entitled Defendant's Consent to Motion to Revoke Hearing by Video Conference that purports to have your signatures on it. In fact, Mr. Salazar, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Mr. Gomez, as attorney for Mr. Salazar, is this also your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. The next document I'm looking at is entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, which is marked, quote, is a revocation of the defendant's community supervision, and the defendant has a right to appeal the court's actions revoking the community supervision, but not the underlying conviction. Is this your signature on this document also, Mr. Salazar?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Mr. Gomez, as attorney for Mr. Salazar, is this also your signature on this document?
It is, Your Honor.
This is a motion to revoke community supervision. My understanding is this is an uncontested motion to revoke community supervision. Is that correct, Mr. Gomez?
Correct, Your Honor.
Mr. Salazar, in cause 633-445 on the motion to revoke community supervision, how do you plead, sir?
True.
Ms. Gross, would you please advise the court and the parties of the status of Mr. Salazar's probation?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Salazar is not yet reported because he was just placed on probation on August the 12th. He's actually scheduled to report for the first time with his officer tomorrow. He's not yet made any payments, done any community service, or done any of his classes. And of course, he doesn't have any drug tests because he hasn't reported yet. We are here for issues with the Smart Start Mobile, in which he's testing 4 times a day, but he's had 13 skip tests. This is his first violation report, first motion to revoke. He has no criminal arrest history. His officer is recommending that his Smart Start Mobile be increased to 6 times per day, that he enroll in all of his classes within 7 days, and that we add a mental health screening with the Bexar County Community Supervision and Corrections Department in regards to some issues regarding his mental health and the officer's difficulty in corresponding and dealing with the defendant, getting him to understand things. And I think Mr. Gomez is going to elaborate on that for you a little bit.
Before we get into that, Mr. Gomez, or rather, Ms. Gross, so your department wants us to increase his blows so he can skip more than 13 tests?
Judge, I'm not the officer. I just read the recommendation.
All right, Mr. Gomez, I'm looking at scram bracelet to fix this. What do you got? Any other ideas? I'm happy to hear them.
Well, Your Honor, yes, he did skip, but he did blow every single time shortly thereafter, usually within 10 to, I guess, within 30 minutes of missing the window, and never tested positive for alcohol in his system.
Wait, stop there. Susan, is that correct? These are all late blows. They're not just skips?
Judge, y'all keep talking and I'm going to look it up. I'll give you a report in a minute.
Go ahead, Mr. Gomez.
Right. According to what I'm looking at, it looks like they're just late blows, but he never tested positive for alcohol. As far as registering for any classes, the only one he's registered for so far is the DWI education class. He submitted his application for community service, has been accepted, is going to start that this weekend. In lieu of getting a mental health evaluation, he does have a slew of mental health issues that have already been diagnosed. And he went to his psychiatrist yesterday to get documentation of that, but they're going to be out of the office until next week. So we will be able to provide all of the information in regards to mental health issues that need to be addressed.
Judge, I have that information for you.
Great.
In addition to the violations, he's also in lockout effective 3 days ago. And as far as the testing goes, it's not usually within a few minutes. Like he had a 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. block and he didn't test until 10:09 a.m. Again, 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. He was an hour and 5 minutes late. The next one, 10 minutes late, 32 minutes late, 39 minutes late, 28 minutes late, 35, 44, 23 minutes late, an hour and 13 minutes late, an hour late, 7 minutes late, and 33 minutes late, and he's been in lockout for 3 days.
Mr. Gomez, why are we in lockout?
Well, he just got released on Saturday. The Smart Start that he had is defective. He's already turned it in, and they're sending him a new one this afternoon.
And that has been conferred, Judge.
All right, Mr. Gomez, I'm back to my scram issue. In this hand, we have the Bexar County Jail. And in this hand, we have the scram bracelet for probably at least 60 days if he does well. Costs $350 a month for a scram bracelet, but that guarantees if he drinks, I know about it. And I don't have to worry about him blowing in the machine or blowing in the machine an hour late or whatever's going on. Currently, he has no machine. So that's kind of where I'm at. You want to go and chat with your client and see if he can afford that? Because I don't have any other option. Jail or scram is kind of where I'm at.
Judge, I don't even see him on the screen anymore.
I must have scared him off. That happened.
Judge, what if you hold scram in abeyance and just tell the guy to get an alarm clock, because all of these are, the early morning blows that he's having trouble with.
He gets 2-hour window for each blow. 2 hours, hour before, an hour after. This is all pilot error. Let's see if we can get our people back.
They haven't re-signed in, so I don't know what happened. I checked break room just in case they went on their own, but they're not there.
I know what choice I would make in your court.
Edminia, thank you so much for stepping up.
You're welcome.
We owe you, Ms.
Appreciate it.
Torres. We're going to make Mr. Stakowitz buy everybody in the office of Margarita. That's his punishment for not paying attention when Pat sends him notice of these hearings.
Oh, no.
Well, Mr. Brendel, you want to start on yours, and maybe these guys will come back and maybe they won't.
I'm here.
You want to go ahead
My
and proceed? You
client,
want to wait
Mr.
a few
Medina,
minutes and see if they come back?
Is he still on?
No.
All right. Let's go ahead and start yours and get y'all out of here. This is cause 648-317.
Yeah, he's on here.
Is he back?
No, Your Honor.
Oh, cause 648-317, State of Texas versus Jorge A. Medina, represented by Mr. Ross Brendel. And this is a motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke community supervision. Mr. Medina and Mr. Brendel, the first document I'm looking at is entitled Defendant's Consent to Motion to Revoke Hearing by Video Conference that purports to have your signatures on it. In fact, Mr. Medina, is this your signature on this document, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Mr. Brendel, as attorney for Mr. Medina, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. The next document I have is entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, which is marked, quote, is an adjudication of guilt following a deferred adjudication, and the defendant has a limited right of appeal, unquote. In fact, once again, Mr. Medina, is this your signature in this document?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Brendel, as attorney for Mr. Medina, is this your signature on this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. My understanding, Mr. Brendel, is this is an uncontested motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke community supervision. Is that correct?
Yes, but we were hoping that we could just do the weekly drug testing that he would agree to.
Well, we don't wheel and deal on this stuff. Basically, at this point in time, if he's consenting to my jurisdiction to determine whether or not whatever he says is true or not true, then we're good to go, and that's an uncontested hearing. If he wants to request a contested hearing, the probability is the only other witness the state would call it his actual probation officer. What does he want to do?
Well, since it was a THC test, we were just going to go ahead and say it was true because it did indicate there's THC. Mr. Medina, do you agree with that?
What I suggest is you can pick one or two or however many of these conditions that he can really plead true to without worrying about it, and just plead true to that one and not true to the rest. Then I'll make a determination one way or the other on all of them. Does that work for you?
Yeah, that's the only one that I'm aware of is the THC at this point.
Okay, so once again, Mr. Medina, in clause number 648-317 on the motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke community supervision, how do you plead, sir?
Not true.
All right. Ms. Gross, would you please advise the court and the parties of the status of Mr. Medina's probation, please?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Medina has been reporting as directed. We last saw him on August 19th, 2021. He has paid $733 towards his fees. He has a balance of $399, and he is current at this time. He has completed 15 of his 24 hours of community service, as well as DWI education, victim impact panel, and the CATSNet program. He is currently testing on Smart Start Mobile at 4 times per day, and he has had 3 skip tests and no issues with high bracs. He has had 4 positive drug tests for marijuana, 1 failure to submit, 1 diluted drug test, and has never tested negative. This is his first violation report, first motion to revoke. He has no criminal history, and his officer is recommending that he be ordered to conduct weekly drug tests and to add the CATS intensive outpatient program.
Do you have access to information that'll tell us what his original fine on this case was and the original number? He had 24 hours community service. I think you already indicated that, correct?
Yes, 24 hours and a $500 fine, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Brendel, what are you requesting?
That's his probation officer, the officer, that's in line with what I was requesting. I talked to Mr. Medina and he agreed that he would submit to weekly drug tests. And then once it shows that he's clear after a certain period of time, I think it was about a month would be a good duration, that he would return to monthly drug testing. And we also talked about the class, and he said he was willing to do that as well. And I sent a email to the prosecution about our conversation with Mr. Medina as well.
Are we having problems with alcohol consumption or just strictly marijuana on this one, Susan?
Marijuana, Your Honor.
Okay.
Although he did have a diluted drug test and a failure to submit.
Okay, state recommendation on Mr. Medina, please. Ms. Bogus?
Sorry, I was muted. The state would agree with Officer Gross's recommendation.
And Ms. Gross, would you agree that Mr. Medina originally had, looks like, a 1-year period of probation, and he's already done approximately 6 months of that 1 year? Does that sound right?
Close to it, Your Honor. He was placed on April 8th. So he'll be approaching his 6-month mark here in about 10 days.
All right. Anything further, Mr. Brendel?
No, that's it.
Mr. Medina, on cause 648317, the court accepts your plea of true with an explanation. I grant the state's motion to revoke your deferred adjudication probation. I adjudicate you guilty of the offense of obstruction of a highway. I sentence you to 6 months in the Bexar County Jail, probated for 6 months, a $500 fine plus court cost, 24 hours community service, DWI education program, DWI victim impact panel, Community Alliance for Traffic Safety intensive outpatient program, weekly UAs. Show me 4 clean weekly UAs in a row. I'll put you back on monthly. And Smart Start mobile device at 4 blows a day. He gets credit for any classes taken or any monies paid. Anything further from the state or the defense on Mr. Medina?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Got to stop hanging out with your buddies smoking marijuana, Mr. Medina, and you'll be fine. Fair enough?
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Brendel?
Mr. Medina and Mr. Brendel, Pat will be sending you a new application and a data sheet. You need to fill those out immediately and return those to her. He's going to have to go back through orientation again. If you have not heard from the probation department by Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock, then you need to call this telephone number, 210-335-7446. 210-335-7446. Tell them that you were placed on probation today and you need an orientation date, and then they will get that all set up for you, okay?
Okay.
Anything further? Good luck, Mr. Medina. Thank you, Mr. Brendel. You're dismissed.
Thank you.
Back on the
And
record.
Judge, I was going to send you an email about client. Just to let you know.
You sent me a travel permit today for like Friday or something. So I'm going to approve it. I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
Oh, well, actually, that client, Miss Mercado, unfortunately, her grandfather has passed away, so she's not going to be going to on that trip that she asked for, but she is requesting that she be able to go to the funeral, which would be in South Texas.
Not a problem.
And it's tomorrow.
No
So
problem.
that
You got my
okay?
oral permission. If you send me something in writing, I'll grant it, and no problem. She's
All
already
right,
on
I'll
a
let her
Smart
know. I
Start
appreciate
mobile
it. Thank
device,
you.
right? She's already active on a Smart Start mobile at 4 blows a day.
I'm not sure. I'll have to check into that.
Confirm on that. That's the only issue.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. Back on the record on class 633-445, State of Texas versus Patrick Salazar, represented by Mr. Jesus Gomez. And we had alien intervention and we lost y'all for a little while, but you're back.
We're back. Sorry about that, Judge.
And the last thing I remember chatting about with you guys was that I thought we needed to have a scram bracelet involved, and I think the expense of the scram bracelet was going to be an issue y'all needed to chat about. Does that sound right?
Well, no, we're not opposed to scram. I don't know if it was really necessary, but it as far as being able to afford it, we can afford it.
Okay. Here's my problem. He's skipping tests and he's late on tests, which doesn't do me any good. With a scram bracelet, we can monitor him 24 hours a day and you didn't have to do anything. Just have the scram bracelet on his leg.
Right.
So, I mean, and if he does well for 60 days, that's just 2 months of the scram bracelet. I'll put him back on the other machine, which is, $200 cheaper plus or minus.
Sounds good, Judge.
I don't, other than that, I don't really have any ability to monitor what's going on. And Susan, is there anything else we need to get excited about other than missing tests?
He just, needs to follow through with getting registered and all of that. He's only been on probation for a little over a month, Judge, and his first appointment with his officer is tomorrow. So, just, start getting enrolled in everything and participating in your classes, making your payments, and doing as your officer directs you to do.
All right. Mr. Salazar on clause 633-445, the court accepts your plea of true with an explanation. I deny the state's motion to revoke your probation, or you continued on probation with all prior requirements with no sanction at this time, although I have the authority to put you in jail for 30 days to get your attention. Will that be necessary, sir?
No, Your Honor.
Good answer, sir. Altering amending conditions, adding the scram device, hopefully within 5 days. Sometimes there's scheduling issues that I have no control over. If it takes, 10 days, that's okay. Just whatever, the quickest he can get it on. And as soon as the scram bracelet is active, well, I guess his other machine's in lockout, is it not? Or is that a different defendant?
A new one was being sent to him today.
Your Honor, we already paid for the new device, and it's already gonna be shipped today to my house at ETA 7 p.m.
All right. Well, you have to work out with them whatever they will or won't do. That's what lawyers are made for. He can chat with them and explain to them the judge ordered you on a scram, so we don't need the Smart Start anymore.
But you need to blow in Smart Start until you have the scram bracelet on your ankle.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm also going to add substantial compliance within 10 days. And by that, I mean any programs you're not registered for, you may not start them, but at least you'll be registered for all these different programs and know what you're doing. Okay. And that's basically it. Anything, and then we're recalling any other pretrial bond conditions I may have ordered on Mr. Salazar. Anything further, Mr. Gomez? Would I miss anything?
Your Honor, the lady stated that I was to blow into the device still until I get the scram bracelet. Do I still do the same time?
Yes. Yes, everything is going to remain the same until you get strapped.
Oh, let me jump in here. Your machine went in lockout. So right now, as we speak, do you have the new machine or are you supposed to go pick it up?
No, he's going to be getting it tonight by 7.
Susan, stop talking, please. Here's what I'm trying to make a determination of. Is it possible we can avoid paying for the Smart Start mobile and just have a gap between the time now and when he can get a scram device on? That's where I'm getting at. So Mr. Gomez, have you got a feel for that?
I believe they've already paid for the Smart Start, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Well, if you've already paid for it and they won't, take it back, so to speak, then go ahead and use it just like Ms. Gross is talking about. If Mr. Gomez wants to call him and he can sweet talk him into saying, look, we didn't know the judge was going to order a scram device, and get him to not make you pay that money for right now. We only have 5-day or 10-day gap between getting the scram on. I don't want to make you pay for the Smart Start. So Mr.
Okay.
Gomez, you're in charge of that. If you can save money, that's okay. If you can't, then he needs to go back on the Smart Start timely blowing into it until we get the scram device active.
Okay.
Okay? Anything
Sounds-
further from the state of the defense on Mr. Gomez?
Yes,
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Gomez, I will be emailing you your conditions this afternoon. You need to sign them and return them back to me. It will also have your scram referral attached to it, okay?
Okay.
All right, if y'all have any questions, just get with your officer.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys. You're out of here. DAs, you get to eat lunch. It's only 12:30. You still have time to get some Cheetos or a hot dog or something. Thanks for your
That's
help.
good.
Appreciate it.
No problem.
I'm gonna tell my
Thank you, Judge.
DAs that I saw what real DAs acted like, and I'm very impressed.
Let's-
Thanks for your help.
All right, y'all take care.
All right.
Thank you, Judge. Y'all have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, guys. You too. Thanks, Ms. Torres, for stepping in.
You're
I'm
welcome.
I'm gonna have
It's
Mr.
okay.
Stakowitz call you and apologize profusely. He was probably off drinking beer somewhere and got carried away. Have you talked to him,